Just in, we have an exclusive interview with none other than Jim, a former slave of Miss Watson's, who is now a free black man. Here you will see a glimpse of the life of a man who wants nothing other than freedom. His journey is the epitome of bravery and hope. And we're back. The time has come, ladies and gentlemen. Please help me welcome Jim.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for coming.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
How has your experience been as a slave?
It was very brutal and harsh, as you can imagine.
Did you have a family in slavery?
My family and I worked on the same land. However, before I met Huck, I had heard that I was going to be sold to a different master, which would separate me from my wife and my children.
Have you seen them since you have been free?
I have visited them, but while I'm a free man, they are still enslaved, so I will not stop fighting until they are free, like me.
We have heard about your journey to freedom. Can you describe how you felt on your expedition on the Mississippi River with Huck Finn?
The journey on the Mississippi was crazy. There were many challenges and obstacles. We faced criminals, the weather, and people on the search for slaves like me. Our expedition was anything but easy. I can say that it was worth it, though, even though I was a free black the entire time. I learned so much on my expedition, especially how far a good friendship could take you. Not only those of color are criticized within the walls of society. Slaves aren't the only ones who need to fight for their freedom, and my journey on the Mississippi has taught me how hard it is for anyone to reach the final goal of being free.
Can you name a point in your life when you felt dehumanized?
When I was first sold into slavery was the time I felt the most dehumanized. Cruelty is enslaving another man and forcing him to work in the harshest of conditions. Being sold for cents as if I'm an item at a store made me feel very less than human.
What is your opinion on Huckleberry Finn?
He is a young boy who has been through a lot in his life already. I feel a connection with him because we were both escaping to a new life and freedom. We also knew what it was like to be underappreciated, so we had a deep bond. Overall, I feel we have created a great friendship.
Can you describe how you were feeling when you assumed Huck was dead?
When we were in the Mississippi River in that fog, I thought I had lost him. I was heartbroken and thought I was all alone in this trip. Essentially, Huck was my only way of getting to the north. I was also very upset when I called Huck's name over and over again, but he had not responded.
How did you become a free slave?
My freedom to Miss Watson. Since she had passed, she wrote in her will that when she died, I was a free man. This means I am legally a free black man.
Can you describe the feeling that you had when you first heard that you were finally free?
Being told that I was free was the best moment of my life. I was crying tears of joy when I realized I was no longer under anyone's command. I'm ecstatic to have my dream come true.
Were you ever wary of Huck's actions in the beginning of the journey?
First, I thought he would return me to Miss Watson, where I would spend the rest of my life as a slave, separated from my wife and children. I was pleasantly surprised when he partnered with me, since he was a white boy and I was a black man. I could not be any more grateful for him and his actions towards me, though.
Do you think the South will ever abolish slavery?
I do not think there will ever be a time in history where slavery will be completely abolished in the South, because they rely on them to do all the hard work that they don't want to do.
If you can say anything to African Americans still in slavery, what would you say?
I would tell them to fight for their rights, because they are no less human than any white man. Society is trying to restrict you from living the life you deserve, and with the help of friends, it is possible for you to gain your freedom if you make a stand for yourself, as I did.
What was your relationship with Huck like?
I don't know how he feels about me, but I wouldn't be where I am without him. If he ever needed anything, I would be there for him. I feel like another father to him, and I'll protect him with my life.
What effects did slavery take on your life as a whole?
Being a slave made me feel less than human. Working tirelessly without proper treatment has put an everlasting cloud of sorrow above my head. I also had to see my wife and children endure the same treatment, making it 10 times harder on me. It's hard when your only job in life is to protect them, but you can't even protect yourself from the hatred and racism.
If you could have one wish in the entire world, what would it be and why?
I wish for not only the abolishment of slavery, but for there to be no more hatred in the world. If everyone loved each other, we could all live together in peace and harmony. We wouldn't have had to try to run from society if there wasn't so much anger throughout the world.
If you were a Belgian waffle topping, which would you be and why?
Nice question. If I could be a Belgian waffle topping, I think I would be chocolate whipped cream, because I feel as though it describes me. I, a black man, am trapped inside a world that refuses to grace me with my own freedom, much like the chocolate whipped cream is inside of the can. However, once the whipped cream is sprayed out of the can, it shows it's no longer confined or restricted, just as I was once I learned of my own freedom.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jim, and answering all of our questions.